So I get the email from YouTube and they're like, you're being demonetized, basically. And I was so emotional because I thought back to the fact that like I worked so hard to get this monetization. Like that was my goal and I worked so hard for it, and I showed up so consistently with like, I'm like, the one thing I struggle with is consistency, and the one thing I did to get monetized was show up consistently to get those 4,000 hours, to get the subscribers, to do all the things. Like I did that. Like that was me. I did that. I put the work in, I put the effort in, I put the energy in, and I accomplished this goal, and it's being stripped from me. It's being taken away just like that. And it was like such a strong wake-up call. It was such a moment that I was like, what do you mean? Like, you mean you can just take away my goal? Like the thing that I thought I achieved, like I worked for so hard to do, you can just take it away because I no longer was consistent at the thing? Like that's allowed? And it is. That's the crazy thing, is it is. You can do whatever in this world. They're like, yeah, you didn't post. You weren't posting consistently. Like you hadn't posted for, I think maybe it was a year. Maybe, I think it was like 9 months or something. Like, and then I had just started posting in that month and it wasn't enough. And they were like, no, sorry, you lose it. Gone, stripped. The year of hard work, stripped away. And I was really sad for a lot of that time because I thought, oh my God, like, why would they do this to me, right? But then at the same time, that was just a medal that I had. Just like, I'm monetized on YouTube. I wasn't doing anything with the medal, right? There was like, it was a goal that I had achieved, and then that was it. And I was over here like happy that I had achieved the goal, which is fine. It's great to achieve your goals, but like to do nothing with it, to just have it sitting there, and you're not even like, you put in all of this work. And I sat back and I was like, this is a wake-up call for me, because I put in all of this work and now I'm just sitting back and letting this trophy or this medal speak for itself, when honestly no one even like okay. And a part of me also had to question the consistency issue. Like, why is it so hard for me to show up consistently? Like, why is this something that I'm struggling with, to the point where like this goal that I worked for a year is now stripped from under me, and I don't know what to do about it, and I don't know how to fix it. Like, why can't I show up consistently? And I had to sit in it, and I had to ask myself in it. And I think everything, and I always say everything happens for a reason, and I think this is very like, this had to happen for me to really question, like, why was I struggling with this thing? Consistency. Why was I struggling? Like, constantly ask myself, what was the thing that I was struggling with? And I landed on the answer, was that like I was struggling to be consistent in an area where I wasn't being my full authentic self. I wasn't showing up in ways that like was easy for me, you know, ways that were easy for me, ways that I really represented who I was, and I spoke from places that were authentic and genuine and easy and simple for me. And I instead was looking at everyone else's structure and like thinking about the expectations of my audience, whether it was like, they want me to be editing this way, like that's what they're used to, that's what I started with 4 years ago. Like, I was this editor, I had all this harsh cuts. Like, there's no way that my audience is gonna watch a 30-minute video of just me talking unedited when I was editing 22-minute videos, like with every single second edited to like the T, like to the T, you know. And like I said, you can go watch my videos, like you can go see that I was like so much about retention and like capturing your attention and keeping it, and I loved it. Like, I really did love it because it was such a science and there was such a structure to it, but it was withering me away because of how I operated in terms of procrastination and just like finding the time to edit and putting other things aside to edit, which, once again, these are choices that you have to make in your life. If you want to make those choices, then you can. But I think what I'm trying to say is, with this, like this structure that I just started posting, and I've posted at least now 2 videos in less than a week, and I'm filming another one, and I can just see myself filming even every day, just sitting down and having these conversations, because this is what I do and this is easy to me. This is how I speak to my talent. This is how I speak to influencers that I work with, that I get on calls with, about like, this is what you're working on, this is the issue and the problem, and this is how we're gonna fix it, right? Like, this is why you can't show up consistently. It's because you've made it really hard for yourself. So let's figure out how we take what you're doing and integrate it into your content instead of integrating your content into your life. This is your life is content. Now we take your life and we make the content instead of making the content the primary focus of your life. And that's kind of how it felt for me. Like, the content was very separate from my life. Even though I was vlogging, it didn't feel natural to me in that sense, where I was like, okay, like, I vlogged and I love filming. Like, it's not that I didn't love the aspect of a vlog, it's just okay, I vlogged and then I'm now going to edit and now I'm going to post, where like, I'm a yapper, you know? Like, I just like to talk. And I had to sit back and think about, I worked so hard for this goal and this achievement, and then I took advantage of it. I just let it sit there and collect dust, and then it was stripped from me. And I had a really strong emotional reaction to it, because it didn't feel fair. It didn't feel right. Like, how can you just take something that I worked so hard for from me? And then I thought about myself and I said, well, you know what? You weren't taking full advantage of what you worked hard for. Like, you were not using that to your best ability. You were just you were taking it for granted. You were taking something that you worked so hard for granted. And it seemed like I didn't care about it. So why not someone take it from me? I had to sit in that and understand that there was an internal disagreement with how I was producing content. And that's it. And so I say all that to say, and I know it was a long-winded video to get to this point, but like, if you're looking at people that are saying like, you can make money on YouTube, this is how you make money on YouTube, you can make $100,000 on YouTube, $10,000 a month, this, whatever, on YouTube, you can. But you need to figure out a way that you're going to show up consistently and authentically as yourself, where it doesn't feel like you are draining yourself, that you are on the edge of burnout, that you can only keep it up for a month. Because the people that are making that type of money are being so consistent and showing up over a long period of time. It's not like, I'm speaking for myself, I can tell you. And to even give you more detail, I looked up like how much I've made on YouTube in total, and I think it was probably like $200, $300 in total. So when you think about it, you're like, oh, is it really the equation of, I'm going to like burn myself out, I'm going to put myself in this position that like is really stressing me out, draining me, my energy, my mental, my emotional, I'm pulling all-nighters, I'm doing this, I'm doing that, to not show up consistently, to not make that much money? A real conversation. Like, I don't know how many people are having these conversations on YouTube right now. And so the only reason I'm saying that is because I don't want you to fall in the same situation that I've fallen into. Like, the reason I got demonetized, and I see other people got demonetized, is because they weren't posting, right? And as soon as they got demonetized, they were like, oh my gosh, like, no. But it's like, you weren't posting. You weren't showing up. You weren't even taking advantage of that thing. But now that they're stripping you of the possibility to, now you want to come back. And you want to come back in the same way that you left. But you're not that person, and it obviously wasn't working. So let's find a way to make it work. Let's find a way to help you show up in a way that's actually going to make you money. That's not going to stress you out. That's going to feel authentic to you. That's easy to show up. I think the reason that this conversation, like the reason my brain was going back and forth, and like obviously now I'm like in the flow of why I wanted to make this video, is because I want people to make money. I want you to make money. Like, I want you to make money on YouTube. I want you to make money on TikTok. I want you to make money on Instagram. Like, I work with creators to help them make money. It is my favorite thing to do because it's so possible, and there's so much money to be made on the internet. The difference is, are you going to show up? Are you able to show up consistently, authentically, and like genuinely to your audience? Give them what you want to give them over a long period of time. Because this isn't just this isn't like a month and you'll see results. Like, this is a long time thing. People go at this for years until they see results. People talk to 10 people before they see results for years. You know, all those channels that like on TikTok, when they clip someone's channel and they're like, this person's been recording videos for months and they only have 10 subscribers, and they keep posting because they love it, and then they blow up from the TikTok, and then they're like, they have hundreds of thousands of followers, they're making so much money from their views and all of this and all of that. And it's like, because they stayed consistent when no one was watching, because they were doing it, because they loved it. That's why they were showing up, because they loved it so much that even if no one was watching, they would still film it. They would still do the thing. That's what you need to find in order to do this. It's not like you see other people, like you see, oh, like Mr. Beast does this, and Mr. Beast tells me I have to have the hook in the first 3 seconds, and Mr. Beast tells me I have to do this and I have to do that, so I'm going to do that, and then I'm going to see Mr. Beast results. Like, no, it does not work like that. I need to be so straight, like no sugar coating on this. It does not work like that. It does not. The consistency, and honestly, I'm going to find a new word for consistency because I hate the word. I am a hater of the word consistency because I'm like, I lack consistency. No, actually. This is like, I don't. I am just not good at showing up the way that other people, or the expectations of me. I'm not good at showing up the way that I believe others want to see me. I'm not good at showing up the way that I think I should show up. And those ways may pull me in different directions, and I just don't like it. I'm like, well, it's hard to show up as someone that you're not. It's hard to show up as someone that you're not. That's it. That's period. It's like, you're putting on an act. You're putting on a performance. You constantly have to, when you're putting on the camera, you're acting. You're not your full self. And that is draining. That's energetically draining. It is. And so in order to do this thing, social media in general, not even just YouTube, social media in general, if you want to make money on social media, this is what I start with all of the people that I work with. I always say, what is the thing that you can talk about forever? Forever. If no one was listening, what can you talk about forever? Because if you do that, and you're just loving it, and you're just enjoying it, and you're like, even if no one was watching, I would still talk about this thing, that's when you're gonna win. You're not looking at the numbers. You're not looking at, oh, okay, like, I need this, I need that. It's like, I just love talking about this. And if one person finds it helpful, period. Okay? And creators, like, I work with multi-passionate creators where they have so many passions and they don't know, like, how do they even create a personal brand? And so it's overwhelming. And I'm like, what could you talk about forever? Start there, start there, start there. And if you're doing something that you feel like has a limit, like a time limit, and you're like, I don't know, like, I'm getting bored, or like, this isn't it, this is draining me, I really hate showing up in this way, that's probably not it. This is like a long-term thing. So back to my demonetization, I think it was probably the best thing that could happen to me, because I had to question myself of like, why, RAENA? Why? Why is it so hard? It shouldn't be this hard. And I know I shouldn't make those statements like, oh, it shouldn't be, it is hard. Like, I get it. Like, don't worry. Don't be so hard on yourself. No, I'm like, why is it this hard for me to show up in this way? I have this like lock on this. Okay, that's better. See, why is it so hard for me to show up in this way? And if there's a point where like, oh, it's hard for me to show up in this way because I have to show up as someone else, that's the answer. Figure out how to show up as yourself. Figure out what your true self wants to say and how they want to say it and where they want to say it, and then pursue that. So yeah, I'm demonetized. I'm demonetized on YouTube. I've made $0 this month, and honestly, I do have some money in my AdSense that like YouTube immediately sent me my money. Just kidding, honestly. Wait, am I? I don't know. I'll think about that. But if you got anything out of this video, I know that there's a part of you that's like, I want to make money on social media, and I want you to make money on social media. Actually, let's do it. Let's make some money on social media. Before we look at all of the videos about everyone else making the money, and before we get our motivation from like everyone else making money, you know, on YouTube, where it's like, okay, I'm going to do this thing because she's making thousands, I'm going to make thousands. Like, yeah, you are. Focus in on the thing that you can do forever or talk about forever. Focus on that and then pursue that through content. And you won't end up like me. But like I said, this was necessary for me, right? The demonetization was necessary because it allowed me to look at what was really important, like what was the problem. And the problem was me, right? And it was how I was showing up, and it was the ways that I was showing up. And now that I know, I've made it easy for myself. I've taken out all of the hurdles, all of the barriers. I'm posting this from my phone. I told you guys, like, camera. Spent lots of money. Okay, I'm posting this from my phone directly to YouTube. I've taken out all of the hurdles, all of the barriers, so there's no excuses. There's nothing. I can't say, oh, it's because this. Oh, it's because that. It's because of nothing. I've taken it all away, and I've stripped it down to this, to just me. And it's the best thing that I could have done for myself, but also for my consistency. So now I can, see, I don't even, is that the word? I think it's a word. It sounds foreign for me now, because I'm like, I hate it. But now I'm looking at my like videos, I'm like, oh girl, you didn't struggle with consistency. You didn't struggle with that. You didn't struggle at all, actually. You are actually more than consistent. You are very consistent, actually. You are consistent at being consistent at things you're consistent at. So I was consistent at showing up for a month and then leaving because I wasn't showing up as myself consistently. That was such a mouthful. I'm just gonna cut it. Not actually, because it's not edited, but you'll just cut it from your memory. Thank you. So I feel like I said like this is the end of the video like maybe like 8 minutes ago, but this is probably the end of the video. And with that, all I want to say is we're gonna get monetized again. That is not the issue. I'm actually like not even worried about that. Like the fact that I now know how to show up and the ways that I want to show up, and that I can show up multiple times and it is easy for me and simple for me, shows me that I'm gonna get monetized. Like I've already done it, right? I've already accomplished that. I already knocked that off. Like it is possible because I've done it in the past. Now that I know how I love to show up and how like I can show myself in the most authentic way, it's like it's even easier for me to get monetized. I feel like the last time I was getting monetized, it was such like a process. This time I'm not even really like calculating. I'm not looking, because I know that if I keep showing up like this, if I keep being myself, if I keep being genuine to the things that I want to talk about and how I want to talk about them and how I want to do them in the structure that I want to do them, and that's easy for me, that monetization is just a result of my work. And so now the goal for me isn't I'm going to get monetized. The goal is I'm going to show up in the most authentic way. Period. I'm going to work on showing up in the most authentic way. And so even when I do get monetized, and when that comes and I'm like, whoa, we did it, the goal does not change. The goal is still, I'm going to show up in the most authentic way, right? And that's the difference when we make these goals that are so like, what are they called? Not objective, but objective. Like they're numeric. They're like, I'm going to post this, or I want $10,000 months. I want this $100,000. Like when you make your goals either a monetary value or like a set in stone, like you're monetized, you did it, period, it's done. You've done it. Like now you have to set another goal. But if your goal is something that you can constantly work at, like constantly get better at, like I'm going to keep showing up authentically online. I'm going to work at showing up authentically online. Every time I post, it's going to be a very authentic post. And maybe I put a numeric value on, like I'm going to post this time, these many times a week, authentically in my authentic voice. And that's it. Even when I do get monetized, even when I do hit like a numeric, like even when I'm hitting 10K months, right? 100K months, 300K months, because why not? Even when I'm doing that, the goal is still to show up authentically, to be yourself. So find that thing, find that goal that's not going to, once you're finished with the goal, it's like, oh, I need to make another goal. Like, what's the main goal? It's to fulfill your why, to fulfill your purpose, whatever that purpose may be. Do that. Go after that, but do it on a platform, whatever platform you choose. And that's that. So I will definitely update you guys about my monetization, about how that's going, when I get monetized, how I feel about it. And yeah, and if you have any questions, let me know. But go forth and conquer. Go forth and conquer, get that money, honey, okay? Make money from content because it's so doable, so possible. Don't limit yourself, whatever your niche may be. I don't believe in niche, and that's a whole other situation that we can talk about, but go forth and conquer and make that money. And don't be obsessive about the money, be obsessive about the thing that you're bringing to the world. Be obsessive about you and what you can provide. Do that first. And then look at your whole like business finances and business plan. Okay, period. Bye.